Well, City ended 2025 with 8 straight victories. A very different story in 2026, isn't it? They've won just 2 of their 7 games, both of those coming in the domestic cups. And Erling Haaland's form is also a big concern for City. He's actually scored just once in his last 9 matches. That was a penalty, and the striker addressed his form after the game. He said, "I don't have the answers. I take full responsibility of not being able to score the goals I should do. I just apologise to everyone, every single Manchester City supporter and every single supporter that travelled, because in the end, it's embarrassing. Bode, they played some incredible football, and in the end, it's deserved. Honestly, I don't know what to say because I don't have the answers. And what I can say is sorry."
Who would have thought he'd be one of the worst Norwegian players on that pitch tonight? For him, it really will be embarrassing going back with a team that were European Cup winners or Champions League winners a couple of seasons ago. And this was not a one-off win. They were, fairly well beaten.
That's extremely concerning from City's perspective. Bode Glimt are in the bottom part of the Champions League group stage. They may now have a chance to get through. Manchester City have a task to make it into the automatic qualification positions.
And crikey, look at this. A lot can happen in 1 minute or less than. City weren't helped by that red card for Rodri. Just 53 seconds separated the midfielders, 2 yellow cards, and made things even harder for Guardiola's side to mount that comeback.
3-1 down, didn't look like they were going to make any inroads into the scoreline. It looked like we're just going to get Bode Glimt, we're going to go forever away. So it was really disappointing from Man City's point of view. They're still in good shape in the Champions League. We know that. But wins breed confidence. And when you're losing 2 on the spin, it's a mini crisis for Man City when they're losing that amount of games, So they've got to get back on the horse as soon as possible.
Well, for more on this, we're going to cross live to our reporter, Alan Irwin, who's at the Etihad for us. Very good morning to you, Alan. Look, goodness me, what does this result mean for Manchester City's Champions League hopes, most importantly?
Yeah, it's certainly a blow, Hayley, isn't it? But it's not done and dusted yet, and they do still sit in the qualifying places, the automatic qualifying places. But that picture can change very quickly, and it probably will change tonight, of course, with the other round of matches that take place. And Manchester City do still have one more game to play to try and secure automatic qualification for the knockout stage of the Champions League, and that is against Galatasaray here at the Etihad next Wednesday. But it's a game now that they really must win by the looks of things, because they certainly would want to avoid the 2-legged playoff phase of the Champions League, because their fixture congestion would really hit them hard in February, because they've got 5 Premier League matches to play. They've got the second leg of a Carabao Cup semi-final against Newcastle, plus an FA Cup tie here against Salford, who made it through last night. That should be a cracker. But if you sandwich in between the playoff stages of the Champions League, it would really cause problems for a Manchester City side that have been beset by injuries of late. And yes, Pep may feel there were mitigating circumstances around the results in Norway last night, given that he had to field the youngest Champions League side that Manchester City have ever fielded. He was without a number of injured players and without his suspended skipper, Bernardo Silva, too. And he will be without another, of course, in the second leg following the sending off of Rodri. Just looking further ahead, should Manchester City make it through to the knockout phases of the Champions League, which obviously they may well do via a playoff route or the automatic spot, they will be able to play the likes of Semenyo and Guehi, who were brought in this January transfer window, but were, of course, ineligible for the game last night and the game against Galatasaray next week. So the squad will be bolstered over the course of next month with those additions, and my word, it does look as though Pep Guardiola certainly needs them. It was a situation that he was probably hoping to avoid, given that it happened last year. It certainly hit Manchester City's hopes of trophies last season with a succession of injuries, and it looks like it's happened again. He'll want to get them back to full fitness as soon as possible, and when you look at those fixtures coming up in February, those 5 Premier League games, they're quite tough, aren't they? Spurs, Liverpool, Fulham, Newcastle and Leeds, plus the additional games that I've already mentioned. It's worrying times for Manchester City fans. Certainly, I know we overuse the word crisis, but certainly worrying times for Manchester City fans this morning as they reflect on the Norwegian club's first ever victory in Champions League football. Pretty miserable it was for Manchester City. It's not much better here this morning, I can tell you.
Jamie Redknapp makes Arsenal claim after Aston Villa slump to Everton defeat. Jamie Redknapp says Arsenal were handed a big let-off after Aston Villa blew an incredible opportunity to apply some real pressure by falling to defeat at home to Everton. Tierno Barry kept his cool to beat Emiliano Martinez just before the hour mark, and the Frenchman's exquisite dinked finish proved the difference, with hosts Villa offering up next to nothing in response. Villa's woes were compounded by a worrying-looking injury to John McGinn, who was forced off with a suspected knee problem just 18 minutes into Sunday's gritty Premier League contest. Unai Emery cut a frustrated figure on the touchline at Villa Park, with his side missing the chance to go second in the table, following Manchester City's shock 2-0 loss at Manchester United a day earlier. It means Arsenal finished the weekend with an imperious 7-point advantage over their 2 title rivals, with Pep Guardiola's City sitting above third-placed Villa on goal difference after 22 games. Villa will hope to bounce back away to Newcastle next weekend, having dropped points in 3 of their last 4 matches in the English top flight. They couldn't have started any worse, obviously. Everton hit the post in the first few minutes, and you thought that might wake them up, get them going, Redknapp said of Villa's limp performance on Redknapp Talk. Redknapp was left scratching his head over Villa's really strange decision to allow Daniel Malin to complete a loan move to Roma in the week. Malin leaving in midweek felt a really strange decision when you look at that substitutes bench. They didn't have those options today. So yeah, a really tough one, but I'd also credit David Moyes. He knows what he's doing, that guy. He knows the former Liverpool, Tottenham, and England midfielder picked out James Garner, Harrison Armstrong, and Jack Grealish for special praise after Everton's unbelievable win. A magnificent performance from Moyes' team, he went on. James Garner in midfield, I thought Harrison Armstrong was exceptional. Jack Grealish kept good width, and he always gives you quality on the ball. To set a team up to be difficult to beat, and that's their best result of the season. Speaking to Sky Sports shortly after the final whistle, Garner hailed Everton's amazing display away from home against a very good Villa side. Arteta can end Odegaard's Arsenal career by unleashing their own Foden-esque star. It's been a Premier League weekend of mixed emotions for Arsenal. On the one hand, Manchester City were comprehensively beaten by their rivals on Saturday morning. It was a game to forget for the whole Arsenal team, but particularly Martin Odegaard, who could eventually see himself replaced by Arteta's own Foden-esque star. Odegaard's dire display versus Forest. Now, it should be said that Odegaard wasn't alone in letting down the fans and manager on Saturday evening. It was a game to forget for the whole Arsenal team, but particularly Martin Odegaard, who could eventually see himself replaced by Arteta's own Foden-esque star. Odegaard's dire display versus Forest. Now, it should be said that Odegaard wasn't alone in letting down the fans and manager on Saturday evening. However, his performance was more disappointing than most of his teammates, not least because, as captain, he should be held to a higher standard. However, for practically the entire first half, and for the time he was on the field in the second, he was wholly ineffective, bordering on anonymous. That might sound overly harsh, but it's an opinion shared by the Standard's Arthur Farage, who awarded the Norwegian a 4 out of 10 match rating, writing that he struggled to get involved. Unsurprisingly, the Drammen-born ace's statistics more than back up such claims. Moreover, it's not the first time the former Real Madrid wonderkid is disappointed this season, having put in a similar performance against Liverpool in the last game week. In all, the whole team needs to step up their game for the rest of the season, and if Odegaard fails to do the same, he could eventually be replaced with one of Arteta's most exciting talents. The Arsenal gem who could replace Odegaard. While there is an argument for Eberechi Eze to come in and replace Odegaard in the immediate future, the player who feels like he could eventually end the captain's Arsenal career is Ethan Nwaneri. Sure, it's not going to happen this season, and it might not even happen next year, but for several reasons, the idea of the Hale-ender eventually being the one to replace the captain does not feel all that far-fetched. The first is his positional versatility. Like his captain, the teenage phenom is someone who is most at home in an attacking midfield role, but does tend to drift ever so slightly out to the right. This was one of the reasons he was so good at covering for Bukayo Saka at points last season. For example, in 37 appearances, totaling 1,374 minutes, the young Englishman scored 9 goals and provided 2 assists. That came out to an excellent average of a goal involvement every 3.36 games, or more crucially, one every 125.77 minutes, which would be impressive for a seasoned professional, let alone a youth player. Moreover, it's this ability to pop up with goals, and some seriously impressive ones at that, which led to one analyst's claim that Ethan Winnair will be Arsenal's version of Phil Foden. Ola Aina pokes fun at Arsenal after VAR controversy as Man City star responds. Arsenal were unfortunate not to receive a penalty against Nottingham Forest as Ola Aina appeared to handle the ball inside the penalty area. Nottingham Forest defender Ola Aina has taken to social media to make a joke at the decision not to award Arsenal a penalty in their 0-0 Premier League draw against Nottingham Forest. Late in the stalemate at the City ground, Aina was involved in a handball incident inside the Forest penalty area. The right-back appeared to steer the ball with his arm near the byline to stop the ball from going out for a corner. Referee Michael Oliver did not award a penalty despite protests from the Arsenal players. VAR Darren England then proceeded to review the incident before concluding that the ball was played off Aina's shoulder first and that his arm was in a natural position. "We came here to win the game, and we haven't managed to do that for different reasons," Mikel Arteta said. "It's a credit to them because they are really well organized and they are really good at breaking momentum when you have certain dominance in the game. But the players had 4 massive challenges as well, with Martinelli on open goal, Declan Rice attacking, Mikael and the header of Bukayo. On top of that, obviously, a very clear penalty in the box that has not been given. So without conceding a single shot on target, again, the fact that we haven't won the game is disappointing. And on top of that, I think we can do things better in certain attacking areas." Arteta also disputed the explanation why the penalty wasn't given, claiming the intention of the arm action was not right. "The explanation is not right. The rest, the order of what it hits, is okay. The timing and the intention of the player is very clear. If not, I wouldn't be sitting here saying, in my opinion, it's a very clear penalty." On Sunday, Aina took to social media to post a reaction to the draw for Forest. He wrote, "Loved being back at the City ground in front of our fans," along with several images from the game. One of the pictures he included was a screenshot of the incident, appearing to show him using his arm to move the ball. Aina also posted a picture of wrestler Eddie Guerrero and used the audio from his walkout song, Viva La Raza. The song, released in 2016, includes the lyrics, "I lie, I cheat, I steal." Manchester City's Antoine Semenyo was one of the first to comment on Aina's post, replying with 4 laughing faces and nostalgia in a comment. Forest manager Sean Dyche told TNT Sports, "I think if these start to get given, we've all got to leave it. I think that's ridiculous. We've got to be careful with those. You know what they should be looking at? People feigning injury. That's the new diving."